Total Screen proudly presents their official podcast, On Screen, with your hosts, Tyson Gifford and William Rohrig.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to On Screen, the official podcast of the Total Screen. My name is Tyson.
My name is Will.
And today we are going to be talking about some hot D. You ready for some hot D, Will?
I am ready for some hot D.
We are going to be talking about Season 3 of House of the Dragon. We've also got a few news stories to go over, but we're going to kick things off with our On the Horizon segment.
On the horizon.
On the Horizon is where we talk about what's coming up in the next week or so, and we're going to start things off with Lanterns. This is, what would you say, 99.99% or just straight out 100% guaranteed we're going to cover this show?
Oh, it's 100%.
Yeah, figured. We're going to be talking about Lanterns eventually. This is the Green Lantern series being co-run by Damon Lindelof of Lost. So yeah, big deal. That's starting on Sunday, August 16th on HBO and HBO Max. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia returns again on Monday, August 17th to FX, FXX, and Hulu. Conan O'Brien Must Go returns for next season on Friday, August 21st on HBO Max. And then we've got 3 movies hitting theaters on Friday, August 21st. We have Tony, which is the story of Anthony Bourdain, Insidious, Out of the Further, and Mutiny, which is the new annual Jason Statham movie where he protects a kid or something. He has one like every year.
Yeah.
This year it's called Mutiny. That's it for our On the Horizon segment. Now we're going to move on to On Beat.
On Beat.
On Beat is our news segment, and we're going to start with the Odyssey. So last week we talked about the record-breaking weekend that the Odyssey and Spider-Man Brand New Day shared together, with Spider-Man Brand New Day becoming, I think, the fastest movie to reach 1 billion or something. It went ridiculously far. But now the Odyssey has joined it too. The Odyssey has also now crossed $1 billion, making it the 65th movie ever and the 5th movie of 2026 so far.
Yeah, we talked about this last week, how insane box office has been this year with $5 billion movies in 1 year is insane.
Yeah, there have been some flops too.
Oh yeah, it's interesting. It's been a year of extremes. It's been a year of movies hitting really big or just missing really big.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of in between. I mean,
it's also been a year of upstarts. We got Backrooms and Obsession.
It's been an interesting year at the movies.
Yeah, it's going to be.
For sure.
It might be something we talk about when we do our best of 2026 show, where we talk about just how fucking crazy the year was for. I mean, it's crazy for everything because just looking at video games in September. And all this stuff going out with that, and then we're going to have what is guaranteed to be the biggest video game release of all time in November. Yeah, it's a crazy year for video games too. And on the TV side, we got 2 Game of Thrones shows in 1 year, so that's crazy there as well.
Oh yeah, it's been wild.
But our next news story is about castings for The Legend of Zelda. Of course, the first 2 castings that we already knew about were Benjamin Evan Ainsworth, who just appeared. We're going to be talking about House of the Dragon this episode. He debuted in this season of House of the Dragon. It's the first thing I've ever seen him in. Have you seen him in anything before this?
No.
So
I did not know him until I first heard about him when he was first cast for Zelda. Now I get to see him act, and he's a good actor. He's or at least he is doing a great job in House of the Dragon.
He's holding it down.
He's holding it down, yeah.
And then, of course, Bo Bragason from Renegade Nell playing Zelda. So we already knew about those for quite a while, but now we've got some other castings, some big ones. Ganondorf, the villain of all the Zelda games, pretty much. Ganondorf.
The big bad.
Played by Uli Latu Kafu, who was
And if you don't know who he is, he was Young Rock.
Yes, he played Dwayne The Rock Johnson in Young Rock. He is also in the series Marco Polo. That's where a lot of the stories are using the picture from of him because he's kind of like on horseback wearing like old-timey clothes.
Oh, right,
So it's kind of like more fitting for a Ganondorf casting story. We got one of the most inspired casting things I've seen in ages, and that is Ditchin Lackman as Impa. She was in Dollhouse. Okay. She was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She's currently in Severance. Yeah.
She looks like Impa.
Amazing. Looks just like Impa, you know?
Yeah. Amazing casting. Really good casting. Yeah.
She's got such an interesting look. She has like just such an iconically interesting look, that actress. And it just, the second I heard of her as Impa, like, I'm like, yeah.
And then it came out that Sam Neill, who just recently passed away, rest in peace, has an undisclosed role in the film, which would make this his final film role. We don't know who he's playing. It's speculated he's Hyrule's king. That makes the most sense. Yeah. He could also be another character. We don't know what Tingle. They're doing. Yeah, he's Tingle. We don't know what they're doing story-wise, but if they're doing the sages, he could be like Rauru.
I mean, he could be like the voice of the Great Deku Tree, you know?
Yeah. There's a lot of possibilities.
Yeah.
But it's most likely he's the King of Hyrule. You don't see the King of Hyrule too much in the games.
I think he's mostly in Breath of the Wild is kind of the one that you get the biggest appearance of him in.
Yeah.
So, but Yvonne Strahovski from Dexter, Chuck,
we all know her from
Mass Effect 2, also in an undisclosed role, also heavily rumored to be Hyrule's queen. Very May-December there.
Very big age gap, but you know.
Yeah, I think Yvonne's like in her mid to late 40s or late 40s, and Sam Neill was, I think, in his late 70s.
Yes.
Yeah. Huge age gap there, but I mean, this is Hollywood, so not surprising.
She could also be playing the Great Fairy. You know?
Yeah, we don't know. Lydia Peckham, who was in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which is the last movie that Wes Ball directed, who is directing Legend of Zelda. Some other actors that we've already mentioned here. I think Yvonne Strahovski or Ditchin Lackman, one of them was also in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. It's just hard for me to remember, even though I've seen it because they were voice roles, you know?
Yeah, they're voice. Yeah, exactly. They weren't on screen.
Yeah.
Roles. Yeah.
But she's in an undisclosed role. I haven't seen any speculation on who that could be, any rumors about that. But
there's a rumor that just came out like either last night or this morning that Samara Weaving is going to be playing Hylia, which this is interesting.
So this is, as Will said, this is a rumor.
This is a rumor. The other castings we mentioned are undisclosed role, but this is like, oh, she's Hylia. So, I mean, that's kind of puts this in a separate category to the other castings because this is not announced.
Yeah. But what's crazy about this is that Samara Weaving, just as we mentioned last week,
she had just been confirmed for X-Men. Yeah. So
yeah, she's just taken over, I guess. She's like the new Margot Robbie. She's just going to be in everything.
It's funny. I think initially when she popped on scene, people were like confusing her for Margot Robbie. She
does kind of look like Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
And now she's basically the new Margot Robbie in the sense that she's just popping up in everything.
That's all we know about Zelda at this time.
Yeah, that's the castings. That's what we got. I mean, if you look at it, I think the only ones that really matter are Link, Zelda, Ganondorf, and Impa, you know?
Yeah.
Based on what we know in the games, I mean, there could be different things based on how
Zelda,
they add stories in, you know?
Link, Zelda, and Ganondorf are the Triforce.
Yeah, and Impa's like a pretty big figure.
And Impa is a big figure because she is not only Zelda's personal bodyguard and protector, but she is also the leader of the Sheikah tribe, which is an ancient tribe. There's all kinds of lore to that I'm not going to go into right now, but yeah.
But yeah, those are kind of like the big ones, you know? And we knew Link and Zelda for quite a while, and now we've gotten our Ganondorf, we got our Impa,
we don't know what
some ancillary characters.
We don't know what they're doing story-wise. If I had to guess, it's probably going to be a mix of story elements from across the games.
Probably, yeah. I'm guessing it's going to probably lean towards Ocarina of Time, but I don't think it's going to do the time thing. It's just going to be more like
I think like it's going to be an original story.
Yeah.
Just bringing in all those elements from the various games. So it's hard to say exactly what would happen. Like, that also makes it more difficult to guess who everybody's playing, because, okay, yeah, Sam Neill could be the king, or he could be Rauru, but maybe Raru's not in the story, or maybe, it makes it difficult to pin down.
Like I said, if I had to guess, I would say it's going to be along the lines of Ocarina of Time, just minus the time part.
Right, yeah.
But it's going to be like that kind of story of upstart attendant to the king, being Ganondorf, who kind of takes over and initiates everything that goes crazy, and Link has to fight back. Like, that kind of story is what I imagine.
Link is going to be an unassuming guy just living in like a quiet, peaceful village.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably not going to have him like paired with a fairy in a village of children. Like, I don't think they're going to go that direction.
No. Most of the Zelda story is like he's just living in this village.
Yeah.
And Ocarina of Time is like one of the only ones where he's living it with the forest children.
It's one of the oldest tropes in fantasy,
Yeah.
The main character from a small village. And usually that small village gets destroyed in that fantasy trope, so.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever happened in a Zelda game. Yeah.
It's been attacked. Twilight Princess that was attacked.
That's right. Twilight Princess that was attacked. Which, funny enough, like I just started Twilight Princess, so.
Okay, so that's our Zelda casting. We've got some trailers to go over too. First, we got our first trailer. We had a teaser before. We didn't discuss it because it was just so small. But we got a teaser before for Primetime. Now we got the trailer. Primetime, of course, is about how to catch a predator. Or to catch a predator. It's just to catch a predator, right? It's not how to train your dragon, and its sequel, how to catch a predator.
It's not an instructional guide.
It's just to catch a predator.
To catch, yeah, exactly. They're not trying to tell you, go out and do this.
Yeah.
This is, obviously, Robert Pattinson's playing Chris Hansen. It looks phenomenal. It's not going to be a flattering portrayal of Chris Hansen. Let's just say that.
It definitely does not seem like something that Chris Hansen would be happy about.
No.
I've seen videos of him reacting to the Robert Pattinson cut. I didn't watch the videos. I've just seen like the thumbnails for him, and I was like, I don't really want to watch the drama of him like complaining about this, especially after seeing this trailer and going like, I don't think it's playing him flatteringly,
Oh yeah. It's based off, the film is based off an Esquire article about an incident that happened while filming To Catch a Predator, about a case like where they caught this guy in a sting and he never showed up to the trap house they set up where they were going to film the episode. So they made a decision to go directly to his house, and they brought their camera crew, and he killed himself with the cameras rolling. He shot himself in the head.
Yeah.
The name of the article on Esquire was Tonight on Dateline, This Man Will Die. And this is what this film specifically is based on.
Yeah, definitely. Very famous story, like kind of Chris Hansen's like downfall from like huge celebrity fame at that point.
Yeah, at that point. Oh yeah, absolutely. Already I could tell like Robert Pattinson's going to put in a compelling performance. Robert Pattinson has like really become one of my favorite actors recently because like
he's doing a lot. He's doing the work.
A lot. Yeah, he's doing the work. He always picks like interesting parts, and like he always gives like a really good, interesting performance.
Mm-hmm. He's got range. He's showing up in all sorts of different kind of roles. So it's like watching Mickey 17 and then watching him as Chris Hansen, or watching him as like the villain, one of the main villains in the Odyssey and stuff. It's like very different,
Yeah, very, very different.
Yeah. Next, we got trailer for Animals. This is the next movie directed by Ben Affleck, also starring Ben Affleck. Not a word of dialogue in the entire trailer. No, it's kind of hard to tell exactly what's happening. It seems to be having something to do with like a political campaign.
So, yeah, I mean, I think like the images pretty much spelled out the story pretty well, or at least like the basic story. Like obviously not like any potential twist.
Yeah, it doesn't give us
like,
details.
On the base, it looks like Ben Affleck is this guy running for Los Angeles County Mayor, and there is some sort of kidnapping blackmail plot where these people kidnap his daughter, his kid, and then he's having to deal with this.
He talks to kidnappers and he says, I have a very particular set of skills.
Yeah,
I can raise taxes on the rich.
I can raise taxes on the rich, yeah.
And the hostage takers are like, fuck, this guy's good.
Yeah. That's what you can gather from the visuals. Obviously, there's no dialogue to give more detail into it.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's going to be in theaters. It's going to be on Netflix. It's being produced by Netflix. Looks interesting.
The second big Netflix movie with Ben Affleck. The first one he's directing with Netflix. They did the one with him and Matt Damon. They did that one together. I think it was earlier this year, if I'm not mistaken. So, working out a new deal with Netflix, I guess. We might see more Ben Affleck stuff on Netflix.
Might.
And then the last trailer we got was for Just Play Dead. This is a new movie with Samuel L. Jackson and Eva Green. And yeah, they're citing it as like from the people who made My Bodyguard's Bodyguard or whatever, that whole series of movies that has like Samuel L. Jackson and Selma Hayek and I think Ryan Reynolds, I think, is in it or something, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe somebody else, I don't know. Anyways, they're kind of playing into the same kind of tone here. You have a guy who's kind of unscrupulous, he's worth a lot of money, he's gonna like plan his murder, and then his wife like wants to actually murder him. Like, instead of like a fake death, it's gonna be a real death.
Yeah, it's gonna be a real death. And then like another guy gets roped into this. It's this whole scheme that just wildly spirals out of control and just keeps going.
Eva Green tries to honeypot a guy into like killing her husband, and then Samuel L. Jackson ends up honeypotting him like in like a friend way.
Right.
And then like another guy that's like
another guy gets involved. Yeah, and it just looks like it just continues to like spiral and go off the rails in spectacular ways. And obviously you got some great actors in this, you know, Eva Green and Samuel L. Jackson. Looks cool to me.
Yeah, that is our news segment, and now we're going to move on to our final segment, full spoilers. This week on Full Spoilers, we are talking about Hot D3, House of the Dragon, Season 3, based on the works by George R.R. Martin, with showrunner Ryan J. Condal. And the two seem to not be happy with each other. Well, particularly George R.R. Martin is not happy with Ryan Condal.
George R.R. Martin, from what he said publicly and from what we've heard behind the scenes, seems to like have some issues with some changes that were made, particularly in this season, although it's hard for me to like pinpoint what exactly it was.
There are a few changes. Some of them, like, I know, like, I haven't read the book, but like, I've heard of some of the changes, and some of them sound like, okay, yeah, that's fine. And some sound like, ooh, that could cause issues, like, further down the line, you know?
I think, like, one of George has said this on his blog, so we know for a fact, like, he was irked by the removal of Nettles from the story, and, like, the repurposing of Nettles' storyline, or elements of her storyline being given to another character, Reyna, who is the youngest of Damon's daughters. George felt
the youngest of his daughters with Lyanna.
With Lyanna, yeah. There's like a whole thing.
He has a dead younger daughter with Rhaenyra.
So basically, George feels like Nettles is an important character to the story, and that cutting her out entirely was not good for the story. I'm going to be honest, I haven't read Fire and Blood, but I'm going to be honest, I don't know. I think like what Ryan Condal did works.
Yeah, I don't see that as being too big of an impact. I think the thing that interested me more was Ulf and Hugh.
Yes.
Where they changed kind of their motivations, where at the end of the season, Ulf kind of betrayed the queen.
I kind of like read a little bit about like Ulf in the story, and Ulf comes across more interesting in the book they did here. I was kind of like, oh man, they really bastardized his character for no reason, apparently.
Yeah. In the book, I guess he turned purely out of greed, whereas in this, he turned kind of out of embarrassment or like out of shame, like for how he was treated.
He was mad that he was mistreated, but yeah, Buck Ulf, he gets the dragon, and then it goes straight to his head to where he is abusive to people. He insists people address him as royalty, you know, even though he's not. He starts like disobeying. He starts making demands. He wants Highgarden, and they won't give it to him because obviously. And then when he can't get it, he tries to usurp the throne. He starts having this attitude that the person who should sit the Iron Throne should just be the person who has the biggest dragon.
Yeah.
Or something.
And he's just a kind of an asshole. So he's like,
just all around asshole.
In the show, they just made him like a complete fucking loser that like stumbled onto power and then thought that power was his instead of his dragons, and then kind of just was still leading the same life of going to bars and bragging and shit.
Yeah, show Ulf just wants to have drinks with the boys.
Yeah, he wants to be praised and have drinks with the boys, and he doesn't want to do any fucking work.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do any work. It's great.
And Hugh, I guess in the books, Hugh just goes with Ulf. Like, he just goes with like the same plan, and like, it's
he
purely
just,
out of greed.
Yeah, purely out of greed. Hugh doesn't have, the whole family plot for Hugh doesn't exist in the book.
Yeah, well, they kind of play him out as like somebody who's trying really hard to be honorable and stuff, and I guess in the book that's just not even a thing.
Yeah, it's just not even a thing, which makes it interesting because book-wise, Hugh and Ulf were supposed to revolt at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? That obviously doesn't happen here.
But they gave the setup setup for why he was going to revolt.
Oh, yeah, they gave the setup, yeah. It's going to happen next season. Doesn't happen this season.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff is actually going to have to happen next season, to be honest.
Let's move back. Let's talk, because we're already talking about the finale. Let's move back.
I want first, like, just overall boilerplate, general, what was your opinion of this season versus the previous seasons?
I think I like this more than season 2, but less than season 1.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think season 1 is still the best season. I think season 2 is still the worst season. I think this was a big improvement over season 2.
I still just want to watch more Night of the Seven Kingdoms, though.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to reach the heights of season 1 again, unfortunately, but it is the way it is. I will say that I really enjoyed the season premiere, and then the second episode, the season premiere.
I was going to jump into that, because I was going to say, we talked about, with the last season, fans were really pissed off that this huge sea battle didn't end up happening in season 2, and I was, like, arguing against that, because I was saying they didn't have the budget. So did you want some, like, budget version of that sea battle, or did you want them to plan it in a way where they could budget it properly? And I think I was proven right.
Yeah, no, I think you were proven right. I think
because this is a spectacular sea battle.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of the biggest battles of the war, so, like, you can't half-ass it. That's for sure.
Yeah. So it's like sometimes if they cut off before a big battle happens, that's not the same thing as cutting the battle out. That just means that they've delayed when they're going to show it. For example, season 1 of Game of Thrones, there was a big battle that they just straight up cut out.
Yeah.
They had them running into battle, and then Tyrion got knocked out, and then it cut to Tyrion coming to, and the battle was over. That's an example of just straight up cutting out a battle. That's not what happened. They just delayed it to this season because they needed the budget to do it properly, and I think that we ended up with something way better than we would have gotten if they had instead, like, shoved that at the end of last season. So that was a spectacular sea battle.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That's the Battle of the Gullet. That's what people were waiting for. They did it amazingly.
Mm-hmm.
This is also the episode where we lost a few characters this episode, most notably Luke, who ran off to join the battle against the wishes of his mother, Rhaenyra, who he had locked up in her chambers by using Jedi logic trap on the guards, which I thought
being like he needed to protect the queen from herself.
Yeah, he runs off and gets himself killed. And that's also the battle. That's also the battle where the pirate queen of the Triarchy dies.
Shirako Lahar. They built her up as this huge thing, and then she's gone in, like, the first episode.
Yeah, they built her up like she's gonna be, like, this major player. And no, she's not. She never is. It's cool, though, because, like, she goes out, I believe it's Alan.
Yes, it's Alan of Hull, who is one of Corlys's bastard sons.
It's hard because, like, I have to, like, think about her because I get him and Adam confused in my head.
Well,
like,
they're
which
both
one's named
Adam? They both have a first name that starts with an A.
Yeah, it's like, which one's named? I have to think about it because I'm like, which one's named Alan and which one's named Adam?
I know some people were annoyed with Game of Thrones when they changed certain character names because the names got confusing. Now we're seeing why.
Yeah, now we're seeing why. Yeah, exactly. But he's the MVP. At the end of the battle, it is believed or feared that Lord Corlys is dead. That proves to not be the case because Lord Corlys is one tough bastard. And he proves throughout the entire thing that he's basically impossible to kill. Also believed to be dead is Sir Tyson Lannister, who is with
Shirako Lahar, and she throws him overboard because she needs to reduce the weight because
and he's
Corlys, like, lures her through, like, a rocky area, basically, knowing that her ship's too heavy and that it will, like, scrape on the rocks and get sunk. And the way she counters that is to throw over everything that's not essential, and that includes
Tyson, to his surprise.
Lannister, yeah. His surprise, yeah.
But also, he's not dead. We don't see him again for, like, a while, but, like,
half the season, I think.
Half the season. It's funny. It is hilarious because the episode where he shows back up again, before he shows up, I'm just watching him. It just popped into my head. I was just thinking, what the fuck happened to Tyson? He can't be dead because they didn't show a body, but they never mentioned him again.
I could be mistaken.
And then he shows up. I'm like, oh, okay.
I could be mistaken, but I believe before they showed that scene in the same episode, they showed the severed head of Jason Lannister, who's played by the same actor. They're supposed to be like twins or something.
Oh, yeah.
And they showed his severed head, and it was like, oh shit, is that Jason or is that Tyson? And then Tyson showed up.
Oh,
So they kind of played, I think they played a little trick like that. I could be wrong on the timing on that, but they definitely showed that Jason Lannister's dead, and they showed his severed head, and they definitely had Tyland come back in the service of Aegon II.
Yes.
We had a little party for a very short time with Aegon II, Tyland Lannister, and the Joker.
I think we should go through, like, the major storylines, like, basically, like, where everybody is, where everybody ends up this season. This is a season for Rhaenyra where she regains control of King's Landing. She gets to retake the Red Keep, sit on the Iron Throne. This is basically due to an agreement she makes with Alicent, where Alicent facilitates Rhaenyra's return to the throne. Apparently in exchange for nothing, because it happens, then she takes Alicent and her daughter prisoner.
Yeah,
and
well, that was her reneging on the deal in a way, because the deal was that it was going to protect Helena Targaryen and Alicent were going to go free.
Yeah, they were going to go free.
Basically sacrificing her sons to do that.
Yeah, she was sacrificing her sons so that she and her daughter could go free, and Rhaenyra, like, never lets them go.
Yeah. To be fair to Rhaenyra, basically everything that was detailed in the plan went wrong.
Yeah.
She wasn't able to kill Aegon because he fled. She
yeah,
wasn't
because
able
he
to
was
kill,
not there.
She wasn't able to kill Aemon because he fled.
Aemon was gone. So
Yeah.
the sons were gone, so she can't kill them.
So she couldn't really gain legitimacy.
So she had to kill Ormond Hightower instead to gain some legitimacy.
Oh, not Ormond.
Not Ormond, but Otto. Yeah, Otto.
Yeah, these names.
Which, we see Otto Hightower after he was captured in Season 2. He is not long for this world in Season 3.
Yeah. He gets brought out and then gets, like, immediately decapitated.
Yes. This is the season for Rhaenyra where she starts to spiral. This is
That's what she wanted, but everything's wrong.
Yeah, everything's wrong. The crown is out of gold. There's no gold, even though Viserys left.
The Joker stole it all.
Yeah, Viserys left a lot of gold for the crown, but when Rhaenyra gets the Iron Throne, that gold has been secreted away by the Greens. The gold that was left that the Greens did not spend previously, so they leave it empty.
They had a huge rat problem because Aegon had ordered all their rat catchers to be killed.
And then Alan is just like, why don't you just get a cat? It's like Jesus.
You have no sense of logic. Yeah.
yeah.
Everything's kind of going wrong. And then, like we had mentioned, Luke dies. That means it's her second son now that's died.
Yes.
And that kind of really sends her spiraling. And then
she's still grieving that,
She finds out Daemon ends up lying to her because he's trying to protect his daughter who was involved. Not really involved with the death of her son, but like basically fucked up the battle, which then led to the death of her son.
She basically played a part in it.
Unintentionally.
Unintentionally, but like intentions really don't matter to Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra isn't going to be like, oh, it was an accident. And when she does catch up to Rhaena later in the season, there really isn't that, oh, well, it was an accident, I can forgive you. There's no forgiveness. She takes her prisoner.
Yeah. And then on top of that, like we're talking about Rhaenyra spiraling, you also got to bring in Lord Corlys, who was like, I want to legitimize my sons. And she's like, no, fuck that, because now I'm being called the Queen of Bastards and I can't. Yeah.
She's thinking about herself. And this is the thing with Rhaenyra, and this is really what poisons her rule, is the fact that she makes all these mistakes, the series of mistakes where she starts alienating the people around her. Like Lord Corlys was like one of her most ride or die, for her cause.
Yeah.
He was there for her, and he's just asking her for a very simple favor, and she won't grant it. He takes it as an insult.
Yeah. This ends up just being a thing where, like, she just keeps having these issues. At the end of the season, she abandons Mysera, the White Worm, who, like, immediately betrays her in at least a small way. Because she immediately, like, as the White Worm's being taken away, finds Helena and says, don't trust the Queen. Immediately betraying her. It's like, okay, yeah, you just spurned her.
Yes.
So it's just, like, one after another,
Yeah.
But you have to kind of feel bad for her, too, because, like, nobody's fucking giving her a shot. She was the one that was, like, promised for the position. She was the one that all the lords knelt to her, like in the first season, that she was going to be the next ruler, everything. Everybody immediately betrayed her. Then she tries to come back into power, and she's just being taunted and treated like shit, and there's, like, guerrilla warfare going on from the High Towers, from Ormond. it's like
from Ormond, yeah. Or yeah, because that's another thing that happens. The season is after Rhaenyra takes the throne. Daemon is out there basically trying to get all of Aegon's supporters to surrender. Mm-hmm. And Ormond is leading an army against Rhaenyra, and he appears to surrender to Daemon, even giving up his ward, Alicent's son.
Prince Daeron Targaryen.
Prince Daeron Targaryen. He seems to give up Prince Daeron to Daemon as a hostage to secure his loyalty, but that turns out to be a trick. It's an imposter, and
he's kind of like, he plays the role almost like a religious fundamentalist.
Yes.
Like Ormond. It's not really religion, though. It's like the Meisters. It's because the Hightowers are from the seat of Old School, which is, or Old Town, which not Old School, Old Town, which is where like the Meisters are and stuff. So, and the Meisters are very anti-dragon.
Yeah, it's very interesting to me because from my understanding, the way it plays, I don't think it comes out too well here, but like I think like it fits. Like basically, Ormond is a true believer in the faith of the Seven. It's played that Otto was never a true believer, but he used religion as a tool to secure his power. But Ormond is a true believer.
Yeah, and he sees dragons as like an abomination.
Yeah, dragons are an abomination. The Targaryens are an abomination. He barely tolerates Daeron having a dragon.
It's weird because there are two separate things. There's the Maesters, who are like the scholars, and then there's the faith of the Seven. And I think he's more fundamental to the Maesters than he is to the actual religion.
Are the Maesters like their own religion thing?
They're not a religion. They're just the scholars.
I thought they're just scholars. Yeah, they're just.
But they're another power. But the Maesters, throughout the entire story of Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon, all of that, loathe dragons. They hate them.
Right.
And so that's where like the anti-dragon stuff comes from.
That's or the anti-dragon. So we know like Old Town is the seat of Hightower power, even into Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So that's the Hightower's base of power, is Old Town. They never lose Old Town. So we have like Ormond is rebelling. He's trying to install Daeron as the king. So Ormond isn't even loyal to Aegon.
No. Not at all. Not Aegon or Aemon. He's anti-dragon. They're too removed from that. You have Prince Daeron is basically being raised by him. He's got dark hair, so he doesn't have like the Targaryen look. He does have a dragon, but Ormond basically keeps the dragon like locked up.
Yes. Yeah. He barely tolerates Daeron's dragon.
Yes.
Yes.
he won't let Daeron fly him or anything, so it's just like, he just kind of like...
basically like, even though like Daeron is a Targaryen...
He sees Daeron as a Hightower, or he's trying to make him a Hightower instead of a Targaryen.
He's trying to make him a Hightower, because Daeron is the son of Alicent and Viserys.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an interesting wrinkle. That becomes like a major plot point this season, because like a lot of the tension, Rhaenyra's having to deal with a lot of stuff already, and then Ormond just like piles it on.
He's using like people that are loyal to the faith and people that are loyal to the Maesters, and using them to basically cause all sorts of havoc and killing City Watch people so much that the City Watch basically disbands.
Yeah.
Just causing so much fucking trouble and stress.
Yeah, trouble and stress. And
that's the theme of the season for Rhaenyra, is stress.
And meanwhile, like, Ormond has basically taken Tumbleton, which is not like a very large city, if I understand. It's probably like a mid-size.
But they swore loyalty to Rhaenyra.
Yeah, they swore loyalty to Rhaenyra, but Ormond takes Tumbleton for his and uses that as his base of operations.
Mm-hmm.
Which leads to a big battle at Tumbleton.
Yeah.
So all these events happening cause Rhaenyra to basically spiral to the point where she has the faith murdered in the sept because they refuse to anoint her.
She's been stuck between two positions, basically.
Yeah.
She's been stuck between the position of her father. She's trying to like live up to her father's legacy and be like a kind ruler that people would love. And like I said, nobody's giving her even like a millisecond of a chance.
No. But she also
so she's not doing that. And then she's got Daemon, on the other hand, saying, fuck all that shit. Let's just fucking kill everybody and rule the world, you know?
Yeah, right, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And she doesn't want to do that. And like a lot of the mistakes that she's making that you talked about is basically because she's trying to be the kind leader when nobody's letting her.
She's trying.
Yeah, she's trying and she's failing.
There's one thing that like she doesn't take into account is she does express frustration throughout the season that she's trying to be like her father. She's trying to rule like her father without realizing, like, her father ruled in an era of peace.
He was never challenged.
He was never challenged. There was no controversy. He didn't have to make hard decisions. You know, she does. And she's trying to think, like, what would her father do? Well, who the F knows, because her father never had to deal with that. Yeah.
Her father, even taking Alicent as his bride, was a total fucking failure on his part anyways.
Yes.
It led to all of this conflict. Her father's the one that fucked up everything in the first place.
Her father and Otto, so.
Yeah. Otto's scheming, intentionally fucking up, and her father just fucking out of loneliness and lust fucking it up, you know?
Right, yeah, exactly.
But,
so she has that going on. This leads to pretty much a pivotal moment where right after killing the Faith of the Sept, goes to the small folk and gives this utterly deranged speech that, like, only makes sense to her.
Only I can save you, because I'm the prince that was promised. Very Trumpian speech.
She says that. Like, she says, I'm the princess of trust. She says that in Valerian.
Yeah.
Which nobody speaks, by the way. So it's kind of like she's talking to herself at that point.
Yeah.
It just makes her look bizarre. People are, like, really not happy with her at this point.
Yeah.
That's basically, like, where she ends the season, and, like, the situation where everything has fallen apart for her. And she's more paranoid and untrusting than ever, too. So she's, like, really going after the people close to her. Like, even, like, her advisor, who she literally sleeps with in, like, episode 7 and episode 8, she tries to send her to Essos.
Yeah.
She says, like, get the fuck out.
Yeah. That's basically when she decided to not be her father and to be more like Daemon.
Yes.
And that was the thing, because she basically had two little birds on her shoulder, Daemon and Mysaria.
Yes.
You know? Mysaria pushing her towards being like her father, being somebody that the people would love, being for the small folk and stuff, and Daemon being like, fuck everybody but us.
Yeah, Daemon ends up winning out.
Yeah, and so the first thing she does is send Mysaria away, because she doesn't want to, like, she's found her closure and she doesn't want that to be challenged.
Right.
And so she thinks, like, oh, I'm giving you a bunch of money, I'm sending you on a ship to a great place, like, you don't have to deal with any of this, aren't I being so nice to you?
Yeah,
and Mysaria's like, you're dumping me.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about Alicent.
Yeah, let's talk about Alicent. She has basically no story this season.
It's a continuation of last season. She's just basically portraying half her children, or more than half of her children.
Here's the Alicent problem. After Rhaenyra takes the Red Keep, takes the throne, and takes Alicent as a prisoner, Alicent is just Rhaenyra's prisoner for the rest of the story. And she dies a prisoner. She doesn't really do anything. She doesn't have anything to do.
Oh, Alicent doesn't die.
Not in this season.
And she's not in prison right now.
Well, yeah. So this is interesting. I'm driving to this. This is like the Alicent problem. This is why I'm saying this is the Alicent problem, because canonically at this point, Alicent has nothing to do in the story. She kind of fades into the background. Her storyline is, for all intents and purposes, done after she's taken prisoner.
They did literally send her to Harrenhal this season.
Yes. They said, so here's the thing. Here's the thing with this show is the showrunners, Ryan Condal, they think, or they want Alicent to be more important to the story or to have a bigger role than she does in the books, because...
Well, here's the thing.
The philosophy is, like, the story is about the relationship between Rhaenyra and Alicent. That's a big part of the story.
Yeah. Fire and Blood, the book, is written, unlike Game of Thrones, or like the Song of Ice and Fire books, it's not written like a novel.
No.
It's written like a history book.
It's a history book. It's a history of some maester hundreds of years after the fact is writing about this using various sources. Some sources may be reliable, some may not be reliable. I mean, I don't want to get too in the weeds of that. So
no, but what I was saying is that the series, trying to be more of a narrative than rather just a bunch of pieces of history, paints Alicent as a mirror to, like, Rhaenyra. Like, they're these two characters are foil to Rhaenyra, I should say.
Right.
And that's where it becomes a problem, because in the book she only is that for like a short period of time.
Right. But it seems like they're contriving things for Alicent to do now, because Alicent going to Harrenhal and trying to, like, kill her son is completely pointless. It's pointless because it's just busy work for the character and it doesn't do anything to affect the story. Aemon doesn't die in Harrenhal, especially not to anything his mother does. And that's still true to this day. Like, she goes there, she meets Aemon, she meets Alice Rivers. There's a fun moment, a fun dinner scene where you get this sort of like this mother. So who's this girl? Where'd this girl come from? There's a fun interaction, and then she ultimately ends up trying to poison Eamon. That doesn't work. Eamon's nursed to health in the last episode, back to health. So it's kind of like, to me, I know this character in the story doesn't have anything to do at this point, so it just seems like you're just contriving ways to keep her in the story without having because she goes there and she does nothing. Nothing is accomplished.
It's because they set her up as a foil, and in the book she's not. And so now they have to like follow through with that, or it feels like you kind of lose the root of the show.
Right.
And so they kind of like screwed themselves early on by really making her like a true foil to Rhaenyra.
Yes. And it's interesting you don't see Alicent in the finale until like one of the like very last shots of the episode.
Yeah.
So who knows what she's going to be doing in season 4?
Well, she thinks she successfully killed her son.
Yes. She thinks she has. She has not.
She doesn't realize that another one of her childs is dead.
But it's interesting because I was thinking, like, what's she realistically going to do? Is she going to go back to Rhaenyra? She's been trying to get out of that place. She's been...
Well, because she wants to get her daughter out.
That's true. Helena, she still thinks Helena's there. She's in for a very rude awakening when like, the wrong kid of hers is dead. She's not going to have a good time next season.
Let's talk about Kristen Cole.
Yes, Kristen Cole, who doesn't have like a very large role this season, but he has a very satisfying end.
For those of us who despise that character, it's definitely great to see him die. Kristen Cole, he's basically given up on life. He's just going to go around and try to inflict as much fucking damage on Alicent's behalf as he can before he dies. He's like leading, but he's not just doing that. He's like leading all his men on his like path of death. It's not like he's just like doing it on his own or something. He's like, I'm going to take you all with me. We're all going to die. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Gawain ends up going like, fuck this shit. And ditches out.
Gawain decided that he's not suicidal, and so he leaves. Gawain ends up going to Tumbleton and uniting with Ormond and Darren. Gawain goes to Tumbleton and like he really finds out like how batshit insane Ormond is.
This was one of the more interesting parts of the season, I think, was their combined relationship of Ormond and Darren and Gawain and Ormond. They had like a kind of this interconnecting relationship where like Gawain is like a true uncle figure to like Darren. Like Gawain loves Darren and cares about him and wants to like take care of him. Ormond is just straight up using Darren. Just does not care about him. Just like, let's get a high tower in power. That's all he cares about.
Yeah, high tower on the throne. Yeah. And he's using...
And he's abusive, to satisfy his goals. He's just like warping and abusing Darren. And then Darren is like terrified of Ormond, but like under his control because he was raised by him. So he doesn't know how to get away from him or how to refuse him. So he's just like pressured to do things he doesn't want to do.
And so you see like once Gawain shows up, you see Darren confiding a lot in Gawain, really like interesting scenes. As for Kristen Cole, Kristen ends up dying in what's called the Butcher's Ball, where he shows up on the battlefield where appears to be just loads of dead bodies.
Bodies and dead
apparently like killed
animals
killed like by some force, some unknown force before like they even got there. And while they're inspecting the bodies, they find out the hard way that these are not dead bodies, these are people playing dead. And soon enough, Kristen Cole and his soldiers are ambushed and surrounded. And this is where Kristen Cole gets his death. Basically, he's confronted by Roderick Dustin. And Kristen Cole, for his part, he asked for a duel, specifically against two men. He asked for that because Kristen Cole wants to die, but he wants to have like songs sung about it, and he wants to be remembered in the histories as some great soldier. He is immediately denied that by several arrows.
Yes.
One to his face. Kristen Cole's killer is not Roderick Dustin, it's Alison Blackwood is the one who just nonchalantly just shoots him with arrows.
Yeah.
and denies him the glory he was seeking in death.
Which is great because Kristen Cole was the Andrew Tate of this show.
Yes. And Alison Blackwood, you might be thinking, who? And I was like that too, because basically, I don't know if we saw this woman before this point, but Kristen Cole is killed and then it cuts to a close-up of her and we're supposed to know who she is. Oh, she killed Krista. Wait, who is that?
And she also shows up at the battle at the end of the season, yeah.
Alison Blackwood will become more important later on. She actually ends up marrying Cregan Stark, becoming his second wife.
We don't have any Cregan Stark in this season.
No, we don't.
We were introduced to him
at all.
very briefly last season, and then nothing this season. His forces are led by Rohrig, and that's it. That's all we got of him.
That's all we got.
We see the Stark sigil. That's about it.
Yeah, we see a Stark sigil. That's it. We will almost assuredly be seeing Cregan next season.
Yeah. I know he apparently fights Aemond at some point.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some stuff going on there. Okay, so let's talk about Queen Helena Targaryen.
Yeah, this is one of the most tragic storylines in the season. Helena, like her mother Alicent, is a prisoner of Rhaenyra, and you can tell Helena is not taking it very well. Basically, she's trying to do her best in captivity, but she's obviously, very depressed. Rhaenyra learns that she has dragon dreams and she has prophecies, so there comes a point where, as Rhaenyra's getting more paranoid and desperate, she's trying to squeeze answers out of Helena as to, what's going to happen. What the prophecies are. Helena doesn't really know because, dragon
By the way,
dreams.
Helena's pregnant with another child of
Yes,
Aegon's.
she is also pregnant, and this is, one of her big fears, and one of Alicent's big fears is that when Helena gives birth, Alicent will take the child hostage. Or Rhaenyra will take the child hostage. Or will kill it if it's a boy.
Yeah.
That's one of the big fears. Again, that's another reason why Alicent is trying to escape with Helena. Both attempts to escape fail. There's an attempt to escape at the first episode of the season when Rhaenyra is taking the throne. That fails. And then later on in the season, there's a second attempt that also fails.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately for Helena, her situation, she just reaches a point of despair where she sees no hope for herself or her unborn child. She sees there's only
haunted by dragon dreams.
There's no hope. There's no life for her that she can see happening, and it builds up to a point where she just decides to end it.
Yes. That's kind of basically going to be a huge effect for Rhaenyra.
Yes.
That death. Let's talk then about one of her brothers, Aemond.
Yeah,
Aemond got the Harrenhal treatment.
He got the Harrenhal story. Aemond is interesting because
they said, what was the worst part of season 2? How can we do that again?
He is basically a mirror of Daemon in a lot of ways, physically, in attitude, and also in storyline.
They play it out in the story that he basically idolized Daemon. Daemon was the mold for what he wanted to become.
Right. Oh, yeah. He ends up getting stuck in Harrenhal because
they didn't know what to do with him this season, so they put him in Harrenhal jail.
Part of Alicent's plan was to help Rhaenyra was Aemond can't be around for this. So she tries to send Aemond away and ends up succeeding in convincing him to go to Harrenhal.
Yeah.
And that's where he immediately kills everybody at Harrenhal who were controlling it, the Strongs. I forgot the guy's name.
Doesn't matter. They're all dead.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, he's dead. Doesn't matter.
But he gets wounded.
He gets wounded by one of his sons unexpectedly because he lets his guard down.
Mm-hmm.
He gets very badly wounded, and he's nursed back to health by Alice Rivers, who's the witch living at Harrenhal, who attended to Daemon when Daemon was at Harrenhal. And all the same...
Now the same story, yeah.
all the same stuff is happening to Daemon at Harrenhal. He's having these dreams about his mom and about the way he killed his brother and everything.
The way he thought he killed his brother, yeah.
The way he thought he killed his brother. He's having all this stuff, and it's changing him on a fundamental level to the point where he is genuinely sorry he tried to do any of that shit.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he's still trying to fuck his mom.
Meanwhile, he's still trying to fuck his mom.
And we get the introduction of dragon eggs.
Yeah, we
Alice
get the
Rivers' house.
Alice Rivers decides she's going to be his wife.
We'll have children, and those children will inherit these dragon eggs.
Yes. And it's interesting, too, because it's one part scheming on Alice's part, but it's also another part where she develops genuine affection for Aemond.
Yeah.
It's an interesting relationship that happens out of that.
Let's talk about Aemond's brother, Aegon.
Aegon. Oh, yeah. Aegon, who's continuing his storyline from last season. Where
Aegon learns an important lesson, that he was an absolute shit leader.
Yes. Aegon has to, basically masquerade as one of the small folk to survive. He's running around with Larys, and
kind of just wants to die through half the season.
Yeah, he kind of wants to die through half the season.
He misses his dragon Sunfire.
Oh, we see Sunfire. Sunfire appears to be dead. He's caressing Sunfire. There's this guy trying to basically monetize the dead dragon, which is funny.
It's dragon, but with no A or O. It's all consonants.
It's
that's like Silicon Valley style.
Yeah, Silicon Valley style. So there's some dude really taking advantage of that. And basically he's traveling with Larys. There's this great part where Larys basically lets Aegon have it. Lets Aegon have the unfiltered truth.
He's all, you're a horrible person and a shit leader.
Yeah. He's like, you suck, dude. It's equally hilarious because at some point, the Lannister, Tyland pops back up and joins Larys and Aegon. And it's hilarious because, Aegon thinks about, what Larys said to him and basically asks Sir Tyland if he agreed. And Sir Tyland just starts
So what do? Do you tell your king that he sucks, or do you lie to your king's face?
Yeah, right.
Everybody has different ruling styles?
Right, yeah. That's hilarious.
Larys ends up leaving Aegon's side when Aegon is clearly saying that he's gonna basically march to his death.
Because
as a knight decides he's gonna stick by his side and die with him.
Because they get to a point where they're marching towards an army of Rhaenyra's supporters.
Mm-hmm.
They're marching towards this army, and Larys fucks off. He's not going to stand there and die. Tyland agrees to stand by Aegon and die, and there is this understanding between them that they will die. For Aegon's part, he does stand up to them, and he does accept this fate.
He gives a rousing speech, and everyone starts backing away as if in fear, and we find out why.
Yeah.
It's not because of anything Aegon's saying, it's because of who's behind Aegon.
Yeah, it's Aegon's dragon Sunfire, who's very much still alive.
And has a matching burned face.
Has a matching, melted face.
And the second Aegon sees him, he looks back at the army and he says, Dracarys.
Yeah.
And Sunfire torches the army as Aegon, laughs maniacally.
Yeah.
In his moment of,
Aegon
victory.
is saved.
And this is so much worse for Rhaenyra now because basically she had spun the story that Aegon had died.
Yeah.
That she had killed him. And now he's risen from the ashes like a legend of yore,
Yeah, he's risen from the ashes. The tales have already reached the small folk. The small folk are pro-Aegon.
They're eating it up.
They're basically Aegon's going to save us from this awful woman at this point.
This one shitty leader is going to save us from this other leader that we've been so shitty to that's turning her shitty. Yeah.
Again, I just think, a lot's happening, but I think, Rhaenyra does bear some responsibility in her actions.
Definitely. It's just, you can't put it all on her because she was basically fucked from the beginning.
Oh, yeah, she was put in an impossible situation.
Yeah, and then she was never given, even her own supporters were often, just basically maneuvering behind her back.
Right.
Through it, and I don't just mean this season, I mean, through the entire series. She'd have, a small council, and they'd be, leaving her out of decisions and shit. A lot of sexism, a lot of misogyny going on towards her character. Even the people that support her are we support her, but just long enough until her heir can take over.
Right,
and that's, the kind of mentality they have, and that's what she's dealing with. So, she definitely has responsibility for her actions, but it's if the realm wasn't such a fucking shit show of misogyny and bullshit, she probably would have carried on her father's legacy of peace. She probably would have been a great ruler. She was just kind of pushed out of that and then lost her goddamn mind.
We get this great scene with Aegon and Aemond at the end, which again it's another show invention. In Fire and Blood, Aegon and Aemond never reunite, but they do here, and it's great. And we get one of the best line deliveries in the entire series, where Aegon just goes up to Aemond and says, "I'm alive!" He sings it practically. He's like, "I'm alive, imbecile."
And then he's quickly disappointed because Aemon is showing remorse, and he's like, God, what the fuck? You're making this, like, not even fun.
Yeah, you're making this not fun anymore. He's disappointed because Harrenhal broke him, so...
Yeah.
It's like, damn it.
Let's talk a little bit about the final battle. We already mentioned the betrayal and how that went and stuff, but we need to talk about the fact that Ormond was killed by Roddy, who was then also killed by...
It was
Roddy
also killed by Ulf.
Yeah, they were both torched.
Yep.
Because Ulf was mistreated by Daemon in a way that pissed him off and made him ally with Ormond, and then Ulf was drunk, and Ormond did the same thing to Ulf.
And here's the thing
that Daemon did,
where I think, like, Ulf should have a little bit of self-awareness. Like, I'm not saying that Ormond and Daemon were completely right in their reactions, but they were justified in feeling the way they did, because...
The city's getting invaded and he's fucking drunk.
He's drunk and passed out in the toilet. It's literally like, dude, like, you sat there and you made a promise to do something, and then you didn't do it. And you don't expect the person that you made the promise to, like, not be upset with you.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, are you the asshole? It's like, Ormond is an asshole, but, like, you're also an asshole.
And it's not as if Daemon didn't have a reason to strike him as well.
Right, yeah, exactly. Because he was told to do something and he wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Ulf is, he's just useless. But he gets mad at both sides, and, like, he takes his dragon and he turns the dragon first, like, on Daemon's army, and then he turns around and turns the dragon on Templeton itself.
Kind of reminiscent of the penultimate episode of Game of Thrones, with Daenerys going crazy and killing everybody.
Yes, like, very reminiscent of that.
Yeah.
One of the consequences of Ulf's rampage is that Hugh's family is murdered.
That's not because of Ulf's rampage. That was shown earlier in that battle.
Oh, I thought that was, like, after...
No, that was some of Rhaenyra's men had broken into the house. And
I remember. Yeah, they were really, like, doing bad things.
She wasn't burned by a dragon. She was killed by men. Yeah, which is going to be our setup for Hugh to turn on Rhaenyra.
Yes. Yeah, basically, the concept of Rhaenyra's dragon seeds, like, backfire on her spectacularly.
Yeah.
It was a decent idea, but...
One dragon seed left.
Yes. And honestly, she is not doing very much to keep that one loyal either.
Yeah.
And you could also argue Rhaena's a dragon seed, though, like, officially, because she got Sheep Stealer, but she's a prisoner.
Well, she wouldn't be a dragon seed because the whole point of the dragon seeds was that they were not, like...
That's true.
Like, they weren't, like, royals.
Yeah, they weren't royals.
They had Targaryen blood, but they were, like, bastards and not royals at all. So, she is.
But basically, the way Rhaenyra is treating Lord Corlys and stuff, she's going to end up turning Adam away from her, too. So, it's not going well with the dragon seeds.
Yeah.
And speaking of Lord Corlys was a prisoner of Ormond. He ends up... There's a scene where Gawain is treating with Daemon, or trying to treat with Daemon on behalf of Darren to end the war before the battle starts and entreat, like, a peace. Daemon does not take this, because I think, like, Daemon just wants to kill a bunch of high towers.
Yeah. Daemon also recognizes that part of the deal is for Darren to remain king of his own section of Westeros.
Yes.
Corlys tries to, like, amend that and say, instead of king, how about we just make him, like, the warden of that area?
Yeah.
And then he'll serve underneath Rhaenyra. Gawain's like, well, no, that's not what I'd bargain with. And Daemon's like, well, I don't care what either of you are bargaining with because he's, like, a threat to the throne. He's dead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, Daemon is like, he's not going to accept any of that. So Daemon takes Corlys prisoner, and that's basically Corlys's storyline. Like,
Corlys goes from one prison to another,
Yeah.
Because Daemon's like, okay, we're freeing you, but, now you're saying ideas that I don't like, so now you're in prison again.
Yeah, exactly. And again, this is going to have ramifications.
Yeah.
Going into the next season.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's all the major storylines of the season. Yeah, it was a good season. Not as good as season 1, but I was happy. I was much happier with this season than season 2.
Mm-hmm. They did have at least, like, 2 huge battles. The sea battle at the beginning and then this other battle at the end. So those were both
Battle of
nice.
Tumbleton.
There were some really cool, like, just scenes that were kind of like really tense and dangerous. The confrontation with Sheepstealer with all the dragons. That was super tense.
That was a tense, like really fun conversation. Apparently Sheepstealer survived. I don't know how, but you don't see a body, and that's the thing.
Well, we see it running away.
Yeah, you don't see a body. You don't see a dead body.
Yeah.
So,
but we also, like I said, we see it running away. Like, Damon watches it run away.
It's severely injured.
Yeah, but it's a dragon. Severely injured isn't dead. I mean, fucking Sunfire proved that, you know?
Right, yeah, exactly.
So, we'll have to see where we go with the rest of it. I mean, we kind of know based on the book, but there's been a lot of changes, and as George R. R. Martin said, butterfly effect.
Yeah, butterfly effect. Yeah, exactly. So, who knows what's going to happen? You can read Fire and Blood if you're really, like, jonesing to find out, get an idea of the ending instead of waiting 2 years for the next season. But, like, things could and probably will change show-wise.
But do you know what we're going to get before House of the Dragon Season 4, which is, by the way, the final season?
Night of the Seven Kingdoms Season 2?
Which is better.
Well, we don't know if Season 2 is better.
But Night of the Seven Kingdoms is better than House of the Dragon, so...
Hopeful. Like, but, you know, like, anything could happen.
True.
Quality dips could happen.
True. But
I'm not expecting it.
But Season 1 was better than anything from House of the Dragon, I think.
Season 1 was good.
Yeah, but that's it for our full spoiler segment and it for the show. So we'll see you next week. You can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky. I'm at Tyson Gifford. You can follow Will. He is at Voxel Hero. You can check out our website, thetotalscreen.blogspot.com. If you go to our website and open up a container store for any of our podcast episodes and scroll down to the bottom paragraph, you'll find all the relevant links to our SoundCloud page, our RSS feed, all that stuff's there. You can also subscribe to this podcast to your favorite podcast client of choice, like Apple Podcasts or Pocket Casts, and the entire backlog of our podcast, as well as additional content, is available on our YouTube channel, so you can check that out there too. Next week, we are going to be talking about X-Men 97 Season 2. That's going to be our main topic, so stay tuned for that. Until then, thank you everybody for listening. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to the OnScreen podcast, the official podcast of The Total Screen. Visit our website at thetotalscreen.com. This podcast can be found on any major podcast client, including Pocket Cast and Apple Podcast. The entire backlog of this podcast and other content can be found on our YouTube channel.